"We are strongest when we are unified." Trump calls for nation to come together after Congress shooting and says he and Melania are praying for victims. President Donald Trump praised a pair of police officers on Wednesday for their heroic actions at a Republican baseball practice where many lives would have been lost if they had not been there. The officers, Congressman Steve Scalise, and at least 2 others were wounded in the spree early Wednesday morning. Scalise was in surgery and stable at the time of Trump's address, according to the congressman's office. Congressman Scalise is a friend and a very good friend. He's a patriot, and he's a fighter. He will recover from this assault, and Steve, I want you to know that you have the prayers, not only of the entire city behind you, but of an entire nation and, frankly, the entire world, Trump said. Trump called off a trip to the Department of Labor on Wednesday as Washington reeled over the shooting. The president had planned to sign an executive order at the department and deliver a speech on the White House's apprenticeship initiative. The White House canceled the event and an appearance that Vice President Mike Pence was scheduled to make at a Washington, D.C., conference. Trump delivered a statement at 11:30 a.m. from the diplomatic room of the White House, instead. In a short address, Trump said the FBI is leading the investigation and will provide additional updates as they become available. Authorities are continuing to investigate the crime, and the assailant has now died from his injuries, he said. Congressman Steve Scalise, a member of House leadership, was shot and badly wounded, and is now in stable condition at the hospital, along with 2 very courageous Capitol Police officers. Trump revealed that at least 2 other people at the practice were wounded. Many lives would have been lost if not for the heroic actions of the 2 Capitol Police officers who took down the gunman despite sustaining gunshot wounds during a very brutal assault, the president stated. A White House spokesperson said the president had talked to Speaker of the House Paul Ryan, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, Scalise's wife and the GOP leader's chief of staff. "I pledge to her our full and absolute support, anything she needs," Trump said in his remarks of Scalise's wife, Jennifer. "We are with her and with the entire Scalise family." Trump said he also spoke to the chief of the Capitol Police, Matthew Verderosa. "He's doing a fantastic job," the president said. On the call, Trump said he expressed his sympathies for his wounded officers and admiration for their courage. "Our brave Capitol Police perform a challenging job with incredible skill, and their sacrifice makes democracy possible." Vice President Mike Pence, a former Republican congressman, also spoke to Ryan and McConnell. Pence called Representative Joe Biden, Senator Jeff Flake, and Francis Brooke, a member of the VP's staff who was present at the baseball practice, too, the White House said. A shooter, described as a white, middle-aged male, fired up to 100 rounds from a high-powered rifle from the third base dugout at Eugene Simpson Stadium Park in Alexandria, Virginia, early Wednesday morning while a group of Republicans were practicing their batting in anticipation of the Thursday's congressional baseball game. The annual charity event brings Republicans and Democrats together at the Nationals Park in Washington, D.C. A congressional staffer for Texas Representative Roger Williams and 2 Capitol Police officers were shot, in addition to Scalise, who was stable and in surgery as of 9:30 a.m. "Everyone on that field is a public servant, our courageous police, our congressional aides who work so tirelessly behind the scenes with enormous devotion, and our dedicated members of Congress who represent our people," Trump said in an address to the nation. In the spirit of the bipartisan charity event, the president added, "We may have our differences, but we do well, in times like these, to remember that everyone who serves in our nation's capital is here because, above all, they love our country. We can all agree that we are blessed to be Americans, that our children deserve to grow up in a nation of safety and peace, and that we are strongest when we are unified and when we work together for the common good. Please take a moment today to cherish those you love, and always remember those who serve and keep us safe." The president's eldest daughter, Ivanka, and her husband, Jared, both of whom are on staff as senior advisors, were on standby as the president remarked on the sorrowful incident. Pence was also in the room. The shooting made for a somber mood at the White House on President Trump's first birthday since taking office. The Republican president turned 71 today. Trump said in a White House statement just after 8:30 a.m. that he and the vice president are deeply saddened by this tragedy. "Our thoughts and prayers are with the members of Congress, their staffs, Capitol Police, first responders, and all others affected." The president said 10 minutes later on Twitter, Representative Steve Scalise of Louisiana, a true friend and patriot, was badly injured but will fully recover. Our thoughts and prayers are with him." Pence diverted from a speech this morning to the National Association of Home Builders to join the president at the White House. Trump said they were closely monitoring the situation in his Wednesday morning statement. A former Indiana congressman, Pence said in a tweet that he and his wife Karen are praying for at Steve Scalise, the Capitol Police, and all heard for speedy recovery. "Our hearts are with them and their loved ones." News conferences and committee hearings on Capitol Hill were postponed until later in the day, or until further notice, after the shock shooting. An off-camera briefing for the press that had not yet been advised was taken off the table as the White House grappled with the tragedy. No other events were on the president's schedule for Wednesday,